Welcome back. Good day, good evening, or good morning. Actually, probably day by the time you're seeing this. Pelicans Daily presented by Fan Arch. I'm your host, Dylan Bruton. Make sure to like, to share, and to subscribe. Okay. Appreciate y'all. Support us for free, as I say a lot of times. And I know that's like almost it's a cliche phrase, but it's the truth, yo. It don't cost no money to support. I promise you, it don't. But appreciate y'all for showing the love. But let's get right to it. So, the world has been hoping and wanting to know and curious, all that, on what we were going to do with this last roster spot. And it is official. It is so official. We have signed Jalen McDaniels, not Jaden, unfortunately. Minnesota ain't giving him up anytime soon, and why would they? He's one of the best. He's one of the best defenders in the entire league. Very versatile player. Got a high ceiling. I mean, ceiling is still incredibly high. But we got his brother, who's still pretty good. Averaged 6.7 points per game and 3.3 rebounds over the last, over 6 seasons. He's a guy that at 6'9", he's very versatile, can play the 3, can play the 4. He can space the floor. He's not the greatest shooter in the world, but he shoots over 30%. Even had a stint in Toronto in Philly 2 years ago where he shot 40% from 3 in 24 games. And he adds more length. He adds more versatility and depth. And that was a big goal for us this offseason, to be able to stack and build in that way. And that was something that we struggled with last year due to the many injuries, due to the many guys that, went down. So I really like the idea. Now, y'all have heard me talk a lot about Amir Coffey and Malcolm Brogdon. I've leaned a little bit more towards Amir Coffey just because I feel like our backcourt is very set, unless the one parameter I would say with Malcolm Brogdon is he is, more of a floor distributor than anybody else that we would have on a roster, sans Jose. So that would be where I would lean towards it. But Amir Coffey was the guy that I was really pushing for. Chris Lambert as well, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to have to hit him up and ask what he thinks about this move. But there we go. Let me get myself a little bit better position. But we very much, got somebody that is going to be able to contribute, you know what I'm saying, from day one. A guy that's already have experience, a guy that already knows what it is to be a professional, and a guy who's not going to do anything that gets in the way of what we're trying to build. You know what I'm saying? He's a very plug in and play type of player. So I really like this move by Joe Dumars. You know what I'm saying? 1-year deal, got him for a vet minimum, and he's a great defender. He's for his career he's averaged in a per 36 average 1.3 steals per game, and he ain't on no Herb Jones level, but it's valuable to have another long arm, long limbed 6'9" wing that can play great defense and disrupt the passing lane. That's exactly what we need. We struggled defending the perimeter. We struggled all around last year, but we really struggled defending the perimeter. We also struggled closing out on 3-point shots last year, defending at the 3. So I really like this move because I feel like this is something that is going to allow us more versatility and creativity with certain lineups, especially when we need to go defensive heavy. Now we've got more bodies. Now we've got more guys to throw out there. So I really like this move. It's not like super flashy. It's not a sexy move, but it's those key moves that make a huge difference, right? It's getting those veterans that know their role, know what they're supposed to do, and they've already been primed and ready. They have experience. That makes a huge difference. You know what I'm saying? I talk often about James Posey as a guy that I compare a little bit with Herb as far as like being that glue guy, that ultimate glue guy defender. And I also throw Tayshaun Prince up there. And It's players like those that played huge roles on championship rosters, huge roles on very tough playoff contending rosters. So I like this move a lot. So I'm all for it. Again, this has been a great offseason. I don't care what no one says. I'm going to get into that a little later. But this has been a great offseason for us. We have really assessed our needs and we've really found a way to address them and get right. And that's what you're supposed to do. That's part of the job. But is it time? Is time running out? Is the writing on the wall for our guy Yves Missi? So this is I'm gonna ask Chris about this because I'm like I was shocked actually to see this article. I'm like Chris, I know you a big Yves fan, but my guy Chris Lambert wrote an article on Yves Missi and basically suggesting that it's possible that Yves Missi's time in New Orleans might be cut short. Now, I don't want that to be the case. I think Yves has a ton of potential. I say, like a Tyson Chandler, Clint Capella, and maybe even better. The more his offense expands, a Nene, you know what I'm saying? Just as a big that can rim run, but also keep you slightly honest if it really comes down to it. I mean, Nene was a bit more of a mid-range shooter than the first two guys I mentioned, but he started out his career as a rim running big man. And then he expanded his range. And with Yves, he's been expanding his game. You know what I'm saying? He was taking guys off the dribble a lot more. And his form, he's got a nice jump shot for him. It's about consistency and repetition for him. And I know he wants it. And he was able to get all rookie second team, averaging 9, 8 in a block a game. And he had a really good rookie year. But questions are going to be asked, right? Is the writing on the wall, right? Because we did sign Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney is the veteran. Kevon Looney has championship experience, so that gives him some slight leeway over Yves. Then, can't even speak, but let me have my water. Then us drafting Derek Queen. We all know what Derek Queen is capable of. We know what type of potential he has, right? We're talking about, again, guys like Alperen Sengun, Nikola Jokic, Arvydas Sabonis, Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph, Bill Walton. Like, these are just different names that have floated around for Derek Queen. At worst, a taller Boris Diaw. You know what I'm saying? And it begs to ask the question, like, how does Yves fit into that? Because he's not a floor spacer, and he's not the greatest finisher in the world. We saw that. He had some struggles in the summer league. He shot below 30% from the field, that wasn't cutting it. And I was bigging him up big. I was going, oh, he's gonna put up easy double-double stats, and he did, but it wasn't a clean double-double, which I know that's a very oxymoronic statement, but it wasn't as clean as we would have wanted. We wanted to see dominance. We wanted to see BTA season. You know what I'm saying? Foot on neck, you out there really dishing out punishment, inflicting pain on the defense. But that didn't really happen. And it begs to ask the question of, because Looney is older, so Derek Queen is definitely like the big of the future. How do those two fit? Now, I like the idea of a Twin Tower lineup. I do. But then you have to think about Zion. How does Zion fit? Especially Zion is not a floor spacer either. If Zion, if he comes into the season, he adds that to his arsenal, then okay, now we having a whole different combo. But then you still got Herb, you still got Trey, so we have a good problem to have. We have a lot of talent, and it's kind of hard to figure out where does everyone fit, what type of role they're gonna play, and how do we make it mesh seamlessly. So that is where it's like, this is one of those things where I don't want to acknowledge this, but I have to. You know what I'm saying? I really have to. And it's tough because, Chris brought up a great point, right? When you're drafting from a previous administration, right, you're not going to be attached to those same players. Why would you? You didn't draft them. You didn't bring them in. And it was what's like the proper way I could phrase it? It was I'm gonna just say interesting, or it didn't go unnoticed. That's how I phrase this. Yeah, it didn't go unnoticed that we drafted a big right after our first round big from the previous year was an all rookie second team, right? It doesn't go unnoticed that that's the case. It doesn't go unnoticed. So how does that again? How does that all work? How does that all play out? I don't know. I don't know. So that's where it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to acknowledge this. I don't want that to be the case. I want us to keep Yves. I would love for him to be a Pelican for life. Okay. But how do we make that work? How do we fine tune and mesh everything? That's where I'm just like, I don't know. Because it's like his play style as a big who largely needs his looks created for him, right? We could do some things, but it all matters about the rest of the roster fit and who's on the team. We've got Trey locked in. We've got Herb locked in. Zion is set to really take that leap as a leader. We're figuring out our backcourt, but we've got a lot of talent out there. It's tough. We have a good problem to have. We do. So I'm hoping that it's not the case. I do hope we find a way to keep Yves. I would hate for us to lose him, especially for like pennies, and peanuts. Like God forbid we trade Yves, but if we do, it has to be for a top level pick. It has to be for a true game changer because Yves to me has a lot of game changer potential, primarily on the defensive side, but still, right? A guy who I named, Tyson Chandler, had a huge role on that 2011 Mavericks team. Huge role. His impact on the defensive end was special. He won a DPOY when he went to New York. He played some very valuable defense over there next to a lot of great offensive players. And I feel like Yves could do the same, but Yves has more to his bag. So it's like his ceiling is nowhere even close to being finished. Nowhere. But alas, I'm not the one making these decisions. We gonna see. But speaking of making decisions, Miami. Okay. Partying in the gun because the heat is on. Early morning. Welcome to Miami. Okay, shout out to Will Smith. That's my favorite Will Smith song of all time. But those Miami Heat, okay, I understand, right? Pat Riley, one of the greatest coaches, GMs, basketball minds the game has ever seen. I will never disrespect Pat Riley, never. Shout out to him. But we do live in a what have you done for me lately league and society. And this present offseason, and especially after the season that the Heat had in Jimmy Butler's exit on the way to Golden State, right? What's going on with them, right? I like their draft pick of Kasparas Yakachunas, who I think is very talented. I talked about on this channel as a guy that we potentially get. I might have brought up, them signing Norman Powell. That was a great signing for them. He's probably going to be their second go-to player on the perimeter after Tyler Hero. And I'm interested to see what they do with Nikola Jovic because I know they want to unleash him more. I like the Kyle Ware pick from last year. I think he could be their franchise big for the future. It's not all doom and gloom, but Jimmy Butler was the best player that the team had since D Wade or Bosh or LeBron. And they, things did not end amicably. It was a very messy and bad breakup. And this offseason, they just got rid of Haywood Highsmith, who was a really good role player for them. And they traded that for a second-round pick to the Nets in 2032. Oh, no, sorry. They got a 2026 second-round pick. So they got a second-round pick for next year. So they couldn't even get a top pick I mean, granted, Haywood Highsmith wasn't gonna generate a first round pick. I'm not being delusional now, but still, they couldn't. They got nothing. I hate to say, maybe that second round pick turns into someone special. Anything is possible, but I highly doubt it. And my question, as well as Chris's question, is why aren't the Heat getting more heat? See what I did there? But why aren't they getting more heat for their lack of, activity? For their lack of, I don't know. It's tough because I do have respect for the Heat, their front office, the Heat culture, the infrastructure. I think Spoelstra is a top 5 coach in the league. Like, he's one of the best basketball minds that the game currently has. And they have a formula. And we want to get to that level of winning pedigree that the Heat have built. And it's very, it's very admirable given the fact that the Heat, they were an expansion team from the 80s. So the fact that they've had, they've won 3 NBA finals. They've had a lot of playoff success. They've etched their name into the NBA lore and lexicon. Salute, majorly. But in the present moment, I'm not even talking about 2 years ago when they made a finals appearance, or 5 years ago when they made another finals appearance. When they made their first finals appearance since the Wade, LeBron, and Bosh years. But there's like bits and pieces where it's like, okay, like what's going on? Like, yeah, okay, even going back, right? The Zoe Morning, Jamal Mashburn, Tim Hardaway, Dan Marley teams. PJ Brown was a guy I've talked about quite a bit, valuable role player. OG days with Glenn Rice and Ronnie Cycli. But like there's been bits and gaps where they've had their struggles and they've not been able to build a competent roster. And that seems where things are leaning now. It's the question of what is their direction, because they had a chance to get KD. They didn't want to give up Nikola Jovic or Tyler Hero or extra pick. And on one hand, I understand, but none of those guys. Shout out to Tyler Hero, but none of those guys are better than KD or going to have a better career than KD. Let's be real. Let's keep it a buck. So, like, what are you holding on for? You know what I'm saying? Like, you might like the guy, and that's great, and I'm not knocking the value of that, but still, and they had a chance to get Dame a couple off seasons ago. They didn't want to part with Tyler Hero, and they also didn't want to match the money that he they don't want to match the money that he was gonna he was looking to make. They've had a lot of chances to get like top tier guys. I'm sorry, my shoe is acting up. They've had a lot of chances to get. Jesus, the thumb of the shoe thumb is over here acting up. Stop it. All right, they've had a lot of chances to get top level players because they've been a team that's like been knocking on the door of being a champion, and they've refused to pull the trigger. And it's very weird that like Pat Riley used to be one of the most brazen and out there, flashy. You know what I'm saying? He was like the Pacino of the NBA. They used to call they call him the Godfather. Like he was fly cat. And it reflected in the moves that he made. It reflected in the way he coached. He was the coach of the Showtime Lakers, for crying out loud, with Magic, Kareem, Michael Cooper, Jamal Wilkes, Byron Scott. You know what I'm saying? Like AC Green, he was part of that. Then he coached the Knicks with Pat Ewing, with John Starks. Like what happened? What has happened as of recent, and why is there not the same amount of smoke for what they've been doing? By all accounts, we had a goal and we've been accomplishing it, right? We drafted 2 players that were top level recruits coming out of high school and had amazing freshman years. Took their teams to the tournament in Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen, right? We got a very underrated second round pick in Micah Peavy, who we acquired from making a trade where we got Jordan Poole. We got rid of C.J. McCollum on the downswing in sense of age wise, contract wise, and oh my gosh, sorry y'all. And we also got Sadiq Bey, valuable 3-and-D wing. We just signed Jalen McDaniels, another valuable 3-and-D, a guy who can really impact the game on a defensive level. We re-signed Herb on a 3-year deal right after the Knicks gave Mikal Bridges a superstar type of contract. We still got Trey Murphy III. We didn't trade him. We still got Zion. Didn't trade him. There's been report and all that he is on a different type of level mentally, right? Him and Joe Dumars have a rapport that they've been building, and it's been taking them to another echelon in terms of his maturation and growth. DeJounte Murray is gaining weight. He's already 14 pounds stronger than he was before. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. Yes, we traded a first-round pick. Boo freaking who? I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of folks, talking about it. Don't get me wrong. It was crazy. We can acknowledge that. Two things can be true at the same time. But to act like we have not had a successful offseason when literally every single goal that we have had, we have been meeting, we have been accomplishing. We've been building a stronger and better basketball culture in the organization. Why are we getting dissed, put down, put at number 30 of 30 teams? Why is there talk about us relocating? Why is there talk about fire everyone already before the season starts? Trade this player, trade that player. Woe is me, doom, gloom, blah, blah, blah. Why is the same energy not had for the Heat? Why? Because they've won in the past? That's great. But the past is the past. One of my favorite Nas lyrics, the past is the past. Nothing right then. Nothing give me chills like Jordan and Tyson. But we can't just be reflecting on the past. We are dealing with the present. And present-wise, sounds crazy, but we have a higher ceiling than the present Heat right now. We do. Anybody saying otherwise is living in 2023 or 2020 or living in the LeBron, the Wade, Bosh, LeBron years, or stuck in 2006 or stuck in the late 90s, beginning of the 2000s with Zoe Morning, Tim Hardaway, Jamal Mashburn, Dan Marley, P.J. Brown. I could go on and on, right? Or even the Glenn Rice, Ronnie Cycling years. Like, y'all are stuck in the past. We in the present, granted, we have to go improve. We have to go and ball out and produce. I'm not over here saying that the work doesn't have to be done. It does. But why are we held under more scrutiny? Is it because that we've not had the success? We've had a lot of just bad misfortune that's been out of our hands. It's not been for a lack of talent. It's not been for a lack of good rosters being put together. It's just been, we've had some ineptness on the management side of things, and we've had some really bad luck on the injuries on the injury scale of things. So why isn't there more heat for the Miami Heat? Why? I'm asking that question, but I also feel like, this is a dialogue that needs to be had. The Heat, they limped to the playoffs last year. They got absolutely spanked by the Cavs. It was a joke. It was like, yeah, you're here. You made it to the playoffs. Congrats. But you're getting sent home in 4. Pack it up. Sweep. Brooms out. And I'm not trying to disrespect the Heat as an organization. They're a great organization. They've got a winning formula, but this upcoming year, I think they need to try to get one of those top young players for this class. That's just my opinion. To me, it would be futile to try to compete for an 8 seed. For what? Like, you don't have really much of a future. Yeah, Tyler Herro's a good player. Bam Adebayo's a good player. Like, both of them are all-stars. But are either of them going to get you to a championship? It remains to be seen. And if they do, as a number one. Things that beg to be asked. Zion, we know, still has the potential to do so much. And when he puts it all together, watch out. So, yeah, I just feel like there needs to be more smoke, more heat, whatever, more fire. You know what I'm saying? We need to be getting on the heat more. Now, granted, I'm all for us just blocking out the hate, letting us use the hate for motivation, letting us use the hate as fuel. Yes. But if we're speaking if we are speaking objectively, we are in a better predicament moving forward than the Heat. I just gotta say it. So all the people that are talking crazy, all the people that are presenting these contextless takes, and you could just tell they don't watch no Pelicans ball. Forget them. Forget about them. Forget about them. The real know what's up. We ain't worried. We ain't worried. We've had a great offseason. I don't care what nobody says. We've had a great offseason. And when we go out and have a great season, I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear a thing. And that's not saying be delusional. No. It's saying be optimistic. Because the change is coming. The tide has been shifted. So, all right. And I don't know what's happened with some of the past videos. So we can respond to the comments from the most recent video that I did. My guy E563. I got Zion playing just under 30 games a season. No! Cancel that. No. Not even going to acknowledge that. But y'all got to believe, man. I understand, though. Zion definitely has to, get it together. He's got to play. He's got to, push and power through. He's got to stay disciplined, but I can't jack that one. Can't. Not at all. Red Christmas. Oh, actually, I want to save that comment. That's actually a really good one. Reborn Legacy, easy too. Made it 16 hours later, but I made it. Hey, salute to you, Reborn. Salute. Judah, I Am King. Love the name, by the way. I almost choked on my cheeseburger listening to this. Terrified of the Pelicans? LMFAO. Well, Judah, be careful on how you eating your cheeseburger, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't choke. Don't choke. When it comes to those Pelicans, though, we a team that we on the up and up. We on the verge. I don't know if you part of Pelicans Nation or not, but if you aren't, get in tune, get informed. If you want to join, you know what I'm saying? Now's the time. Now's the time. The train hasn't left the station just yet. But, when we start winning and everyone starts, oh my God, the Pelicans. The bandwagon, they might not let you in. I don't know. You might have to talk to some of them OG fans from the New Orleans Jazz days, you know what I'm saying, who saw the Pete Maraviches of the world. Hoffa C7E, he had 2 comments. Said, what's up, bro? Good job. I see you growing. Much love. Much love, man. Appreciate it. I think I've seen you comment on my video before. Yeah, it's been a while. But appreciate you. And then Zion better than Anthony Davis. Ooh, spicy, yo, spicy. Right now, I can't say that yet, okay? Yet. But long term and when it's all said and done, do I think so? Very much so. I think Zion will be. And it's crazy because I was a huge AD guy. Like, I don't got my P5, but I got like my P4 games here because I had a lot of them at my parents' place. And I have my 2K16. Matter of fact, real quick, I'm going to show y'all. Just so y'all understand what type of time we on over here, baby. Just so y'all understand that I don't play no games about this. I remember going to the GameStop and they were like, you can either get the Steph or the James Harden. And I said, give me that Anthony Davis. Ugh. Boom! Still got it. This is one of the greatest. This is a top 5 2K of all time. I don't care what no one says. 2K11 is the greatest one. I just got to say that. But this is in the top 5. Once I get my P5 and I figure out the backwards compatibility. I don't know why I'm saying compatibility, like combativeness, but compatibility. But yeah. This was amazing. Amazing 2K. This one has held up amazingly over the years. But yeah, AD was special. Forever love AD. Forever, root and want the best for him. But I think Zion is gonna be the one. I still got faith. Okay, last two comments because these are both really, really. Actually three. My guy, Red Christmas, I'm gonna get to you right now. I like and agree with most of what you say, but I have to object to one thing. This idea that non-athletes and spectators should remain silent is too much. Everyone spending time, money, and positive interest in the team needs to be embraced. Well, I'm gonna say right away, I agree with that last part. Yes. I have an issue with the non-athletes and spectators who don't respect the game, who don't respect the history, and don't use any context. Don't do any research, don't do any homework. I'm by definition a non-athlete and spectator, even though I did play growing up, even though I'm still around the game as it is. But I do feel like there are takes that, like, I'm not going to call somebody trash or a bum when they could come to any gym I go to and put up 100 on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be within reason. I might say in comparison or juxtaposition, I love using big words like that, to their peers in the league, they're not playing up to par. They're not playing in what they were expected to do. But I'm never going to call someone trash because it's so hard to get to the league. It's a 0.00001%. And I know brothers that's in the league, and you feel the difference when you're on the court with them. You're like, oh my God, yeah. And I grew up, again, I played travel team, I played AAU, I played club ball. I played against guys that are now in the league. And then there was guys that I thought were going to go to the league, that everyone around me thought was going to go to the league and didn't. And you're just like, wow, right? These guys were so talented, had it all. What happened? So, but I do agree, like, a positive interest, yes, it should be embraced. He said, I get that non-athletes shouldn't act like they know better than the athletes about how to do the physical actions. Yes, 100% agree with you on that. But if you have that love, even if it just came from studying or watching, that I feel that needs to be embraced too. Exactly, and that's where I try to for me, that's where I try to find my lane. That's where I try to find the happy medium. I have a love. I respect the history. I came up with a foundation with it. But I'm also going to be objective in where and what I'm able to speak on, because there are certain things that I can't speak on, or I don't have the same type of depth, if that makes sense. But I really appreciate this comment, though. Most of the media sounds like they're actively trying to discourage New Orleans fans. Facts! That segment of New Orleans that are prone to act like crabs in a bucket, and that includes about our two sports teams. Exactly. Like, granted, I've been very critical about the Saints, and it's been brutal watching us in preseason. Oh, my God. But I got my banner over my TV, so it's still Who Dat Nation, and that ain't never dying, that ain't never changing. But yes, I do agree with you. It does feel like that, and I don't like that. And I feel like that's an issue that I have, is that you're not doing anything to incentivize people to be excited. You're just preparing them for sadness and depression. But that's not going to be the case. So it's like, what is even the goal here? What is the intention behind your practice? What is the intention behind the way that you're constructing things? You got to ask these type of questions. I say, forget all the negativity. Let's enjoy our teams, ride or die. Keep supporting the team so I can keep supporting you. That's it. Have a nice day. Well, Red Christmas, my man, much love. I love this comment. Appreciate this. This is exactly like you broke it down perfectly. So I just want to say thank you. And no, 100 grand, 100%. And, I was born 4 days after Christmas, December 29th, 1998. So and I'm a youngin', but kind of old. I don't know, depending on how you look at it. But appreciate it, Red. Much love. And then last comment, because I love this one. Yo, McPhee Media, you make a new channel talk about stuff at 41 where you talk life, I'll sub to it, bro. Well, I'm going to shamelessly plug myself then. Chilling with Dylan, sports, music, and life. Look it up on YouTube. I do a lot of podcast interviews with different athletes that I know. I'm going to have some music artists on there as well, people I know, and just other great journalists, reporters. Stay tuned. I'm putting it all together. I am in school now. I start classes in a couple of days. But I'm still going to be at it because this is a passion. This is what gets me out of my bed. It's what gets me out of here every morning. You know what I'm saying? It's that desire. It's the hunger. That's all what I'm on. You know what I'm saying? I do need to eat some food. But I did have a little cereal and had a granola bar and all that, but need to eat some food. But like that's what motivates me, and being able to share my love for the game with y'all, and the fact that y'all support and show love back. I know I'm doing something right. I know I'm doing something that I can be proud of, and that's what it's all about to me. Um, but that's gonna be it, though. I appreciate the love and support. I appreciate the way that y'all are continuing to, you know, grow with me on this journey, and that's what it's all about. And the only way we get better is through that growth. So appreciate it. Make sure to continue to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend. Continue to be on this journey with me. Shout out to Fan Arch. You know what I'm saying? Much love to them and much love to y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your day and stay blessed.